All right, so guys, this is our 9th episode. All right, we've literally made it past 2 months, and now we're here. Evolved, got a crazy backyard. Drew, you got a nice house, bro. Stepped up. Yeah, look at the Thrive money.
Second place for best wing.
Second place ain't that bad. Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. But I wanted to do something a little different today and actually get to know one another. And you know, we did this on the Facebook Live, but never actually in person. So I just wanted to ask both of you guys, like who? Tell us a little about who you are and how'd you get into this podcast space.
You know, just 3 months ago, it was an idea of having a podcast. It was just an idea. And then we started doing Facebook Lives. And then we started getting momentum. So we made a pact to ourselves that we'll do it for 30 straight days. So we had 30 episodes just right there. And then after that, we took a 3 weeks, maybe even a month lay off just to start now doing it in person. And as you can see, we continuously keep upgrading. You know, like when we first started, we didn't have any mics. Now we have mics. You know, so we're making progress. You know, sometimes the background wasn't the greatest, but as you can see, the background is upgraded. So
this ain't no green screen either.
No green screen. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. You know, I'm proud of the commitment that we've had so far, and we're just going to keep pushing it. You know that's basically how we got into the podcast space. Was just 3 individuals talking on Facebook Live. Just discussing things. I discussed one day with Drew. I talked to him for about 3-4 hours.
Yep.
Straight.
That was wild.
And then there's been other times where I've talked for 3-4 hours. So it just made sense. It just made sense to start something that people can even take from the conversation. Because we have so many good conversations, but a lot of times people they're not there.
Yeah.
So by doing the podcast, recording it, now you can gain some insight of different people's opinions, different views, different strategies. And that's how I think, that's how I started getting into the podcast space.
Right. How about you, Drew?
Well, I believe you asked, like, who you are.
Yeah.
And how did you get here?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a loaded question. So I see what he did. He kept it simple. I think I'm just going to do the same. Yeah. I'm gonna skip a bunch of stuff. So listen. Pain got me here. Mm-hmm. That's what got me here. Mm-hmm. Because I went down a long, dark road and I made some poor choices. Mm-hmm. It added to that pain and somehow found my way into a place where I had to dig myself out by myself. Mm-hmm. I had nobody I could turn to, didn't even know how to ask. And I just knew that something was missing. So I went down a long road of self-work, did a lot of, wondering of what I want, and trying to figure out what I love and what my talents are. And it put me down a road where, you know what, I want to help people. And I want to do things that make me proud at the end of the day before I go to sleep. So I decided to, when I crossed paths with you gentlemen, you guys were talking online, and I watched you for 2 days. And at least by the third time I was watching you guys kept like kind of pissing me off. Like, okay, you've already hit a nerve here. I resonated with this. I'm like, how many times am I going to let this go? Mm-hmm. So I said, all right, I'm joining. I'm hitting the button. Mm-hmm. When I did that, I didn't realize the journey I was about to involve myself in.
Right.
But here we are, man.
Here we are.
I own a pool now.
Courtesy of Thrive Talks. Courtesy of Thrive Money hit different.
Yeah, man. And it's just sometimes I got to pinch myself, But yeah, I felt the commitment from others, so I committed myself. I made us a theme song. It's going to come soon.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that.
I didn't just make the song about me. I made it about this podcast. So, and about all of you out there watching. Because it's time for a change. We all need a change. The world needs a change, and we're here to help alleviate some of the pressure of the shit that's going on in this world.
Yeah, when Jay initially, when me and Jay first linked up, probably around end of December, January, this wasn't on the radar. It was something I know that Jay had on his mind, that he wanted to do a different podcast, Walking and Talking. You know, I've had like a couple little stints in the past where I dabbled in podcasting a little bit, but nothing stuck. And one day Jay goes, man, let's jump on live, man. We're doing it. I'm like, all right. So we jump on live, Facebook Live. You know, no, you don't need a mic. You got a phone. You don't need no equipment. Everybody thinks you need all this stuff, but you need nothing. You got the phone. It's in your pocket.
Can you talk?
Yeah. Can you
That's
talk?
the first thing.
No, that was, you know, that's a test, because it's like,
Yeah.
even now, it's like the more we're gonna get deeper into it, the more we're gonna have to put a different type of effort, either researching a different speaker, understanding how people question, listening to ourselves, like, you know, breaking that down and seeing what we could do better, what we can't do better. But that just started it. I had no idea what it was gonna turn into, but here we are. It's Thrive Talks. And it's not called Survive Talks, it's called Thrive Talks, you know. And when I met Jay, he mentioned thriving, thrive everything, thrive solutions, right? Thriving kids, thriving youth. And, you know, with the journey that you've been on with through cancer, thriving meant a lot to you, right? Can you speak on why thrive? Like, why'd you choose thrive?
I thought about the word thrive because I thought first is survive. Because when they always talk about the cancer survivor, so I always wanted to say, you know what, I'm not a cancer survivor, I'm a cancer thriver. You know, I took my obstacle, I used it, and I used it to actually propel me further. So in my thought, I was like, you know what, thrive. Everything you want to do is thrive. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're with the kids, it's thriving. Whether it's cooking, it's thriving. Whether it's with your, you know, in a relationship, you're thriving. Whether it's being a father, you're thriving. You know, you're in the weight room, you're thriving. So that word just really resonated with me. So once I heard that word thrive, I said that's going to be the word that's associated with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty much claiming the word thrive.
Yeah.
Even though it's not mine, but I'm claiming that.
Yeah, that's sick. That's awesome. What about you, Drew? When you heard Thrive Talks, like what, like, you know, obviously you're a part of Thriving Solutions beforehand too, right? Since we are diving into the story.
Yeah. So, you know, I met Jay online and had no idea that, you know, the work he was doing, and then I caught wind of your program through Walter and you, and man, I struggle with my hernia. I have 3 hernias in my stomach, and I've lost a lot of weight despite that hernia. But to get me like to over the hill, over the hump, and over the very difficult, you know, it's very hard to lose weight, everybody. It's not easy. And especially when you're in pain and you can't move, your mobility is different. And so I needed something new. And it's called Thriving Solutions for a reason, because it provides a solution and it helps you thrive. You know, as simple as that. So, it attacks through food and moving. Mm-hmm. And that was simple. I can do steps, I could walk, right? Mm-hmm. So I could eat better, and I did. And, you know, I've come a long way, but I'm actually at 256 now, which is the lowest I've been in years. And my skin's better, you know, my attitude's better, my mind frame's better, my thought process is better. And it's all thanks to crossing paths with this man. And when you guys walked in on my chicken place, when I had that place on Walker Road, I never would have thought we'd be here, ever. Mm-hmm. I thought he was just gonna help me lose weight, and it turns out we're gonna be on a journey here. We're gonna share some stuff, and we're gonna help some people out here.
Exactly.
One thing that really stuck out to me when we first started doing the podcast on Facebook Live, we're jumping on there every day for 30 days. I know a couple of days, I missed a day, and I know, you know, we had some life things that come up, but for 30 days the show went on, no matter what. Yes. No matter if there's a man or no man, it went on.
For the record, I didn't miss a beat.
That's how I got the pool.
You got a raise. You got a bonus. You got the bonus.
Oh, man.
Next is the car.
Yeah, I got the blow up pool in my bag.
That's not true.
But what do you call it? One thing that really stuck out to me when we're doing the podcast is vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you heard 3 men talk about their feelings, talk about what's going on, not, you know, pull any punches, and say what's on their chest, or say what's on their mind. And even if there's a few tears that roll down the cheeks, you know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. I wanted to ask you guys, Could you share an instance when opening up and being vulnerable led to personal growth? Like it led to, you growing as an individual and helping the whole situation.
You go first.
Well, I'm going to answer your question directly, but it's going to be more recent. When I shared with you guys on the podcast on Facebook, I grew exponentially since then. And I realized even like during those episodes, those little tears that I let out were much needed. And I didn't realize it because I had already said my story. I had already cried. I'd already went through it. But venting, or I call it steam valving, it's eternal. When you lose your mom, you're always going to be sad. When you lose your child, you're always going to be sad. If you grow close to a dog and you lose your dog, you're going to be sad if it meant something to you. Because it's about companionship. It's about crossing paths with people. And they add value to you and they give you knowledge. And then when they leave, you're like craving that knowledge. There's a void. And, through every void, you try to fill the void with something that you probably shouldn't. Sometimes you do a good job and you fill it with something good. Like when I added this podcast to my life, that's a very healthy way to fill a void. Mm-hmm. So gives me the opportunity to tell people my story and hoping somebody out there that hears it can apply something I said and help them personally in their lives. So I would say, you asked, give a time when
like how being vulnerable helped you grow as a person.
So this is the first time on this podcast that I was actually vulnerable with other people live, and we were all seeing it. And I was a part of it, you were a part of it, you were a part of it, and we were all on different ends. When he told his shit, it hit me. Mm-hmm. Maybe it hit, I don't know if it hit you, I can't speak for you. Mm-hmm. But we all kind of felt, our journeys have had hardships. And it's part of life, and people out there, they struggle with their hardships. They often ponder on it for a long time, and they dwell. They waste a lot of energy on it, and sometimes they open their eyes and life is gone. So we're trying to help people through talking about our stuff, our personal issues. We're trying to help them find other ways, creative ways to better your mind and change your thinking process so you can get through things a lot easier.
You touched a great point there, Drew, because you mentioned I'm adding the podcast as a healthy way, a healthy activity in my life that's going to heal me. And by adding something, you're letting go of the negative just by default.
Facts.
Right? And so that's a beautiful thing we can all pick up on not just vulnerability, but any good activity. And if you just add that one activity into your life, you're naturally going to let go of any negative activity. How about you, Jay? What would you say as a time when you were vulnerable and that helped you grow as a person, or help the situation you're in, or help people around you grow?
I would just say, honestly, the past 3 years, I've been the most vulnerable I've ever been in my life. Mm-hmm. Usually I don't share my emotions at all. So by just being able to release stuff that's within, it's healed me. I could feel it. Mm-hmm. And then it's actually, I could see it helping somebody else because they realize that it's like, what, we all go through things. In life, we all go through them. It doesn't matter who you are. We all go through them, and we all have some commonality. So by allowing me to share some of my inner thoughts has allowed me to connect to people closer because they actually know me. They know the individual from me, the inside of me. They don't know what they think. They know what they know. And that's a big thing. It's like a lot of times people are saying, why don't someone know me? But if you ain't shared anything, how are they going to know you? They're not going to know what's in your mind. So sometimes we say, okay, well, you don't know what I'm thinking. But that's your job to communicate how you're thinking. That's your job.
And you touch a great point, because Jay, you did this for me for sure. Even I'm going to talk about vulnerability for a second. We had a situation last week where we had some miscommunication, and then I came over and I was just vulnerable about where I was at. You know what I mean? But that's healing for me, right? Sure. The most beautiful thing I think we can provide each other is a space where we're not judged, right? Tell me what's on your mind. I ain't going to judge you. You know what I mean? Maybe you lost your way along the way. Maybe you have a different way of thinking than I do. Maybe you were grown up a different way. You were raised a different way. But if you don't tell me, I won't know. But the most beautiful thing is when you do tell your friend and they don't judge you,
For sure.
right? They see it from your perspective. They give you a hug and say, it's all right. You know what I mean? Stop judging yourself,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean? There's a tomorrow. There's a today. You know what I mean? You're blessed. Those are the things I believe this podcast has definitely did for me, 100%. You know, there's times when, especially in the beginning, so many episodes, I would literally go into it feeling a certain emotion and coming out just like air. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, feeling so.
I can resonate with that. This is a lot of those days where we're doing those Facebook podcasts. I go into my studio pretty much stressed from my life, and then I come out of there just, hey, what's up? What's going on?
No,
Right?
this-
because everything is that we're doing is a healing,
Yeah.
right? So if it was, it's almost like it would be Thrive Healing, right? We're talking, but we're healing ourselves through the process of talking and communicating, because a lot of times we carry stuff inside, so it's forcing you to be vulnerable. I've never been vulnerable like that on camera.
Right.
Vulnerable to the public to that extent. But it was almost freeing. It's almost freeing because it's like, yeah, I could be vulnerable if I want, but I know I could be the other way if I want to.
So it's also very encouraging because you said it's freeing. Yeah, we got to share between us and we got comfortable between us, but also gives you the courage to go and tell someone else.
For sure.
Because after I did that with you guys, I was more able to do that with others. So it definitely helped me boost that. Although I've already told my story's out there. It's been out there. I've been an open book since 2017, but I didn't realize how much I actually needed to connect with people and do that and like that.
Yeah, because everything that you go through is for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about it like that and say, okay, the things that I went through, I shouldn't be embarrassed about.
No.
I should use them and share it with others so then they can understand that, I understand what you're going through. Maybe you did something that's not deemed appropriate, but I maybe did the same thing and we can still get through it. So it's a never-ending journey to heal yourself. I've been trying to heal myself, to be honest, since 1996, and this is 2023. It's been almost 30 years later trying to heal myself. And the one ingredient that I find to heal yourself is communicating. Right? Is allowing whatever that's on your heart and releasing it into wherever it needs to be released. And then trusting that when somebody else does get this information, that they're going to use it appropriately. They're not going to mismanage it. They're not going to damage you. They're not going to kick you when you're on the ground. They're going to extend their hand to try to lift you back up. And that's why I think with this podcast, with the Thrive Talks, I think it's genuine. I think it's something that we might not have all the answers, and it may not be all correct, and it might not be from the book, and we might not be the so-called experts, but we're the so-called experts on ourselves, right? We know who we are.
That's the thing.
So as long as you know who you are and you can share that with the public, then they can learn from it. Because I don't have to have initial behind my name or in front of my name to be credible, because
No.
I'm living it. I'm living the life. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, because I don't. I don't have all the answers at all. I just got an opinion, and my opinion is not based on that individual. My opinion is based on me. That's my life. That's one person I do know in this world is me, and that's the most important person to know.
Jay, you don't need all the answers if you have the right approach all the time. And you do. You have the right approach with everything you do. And like you said, we're living it. We're actually doing it. We didn't just talk on that podcast on Facebook. We said what we were going to do and we did it. And here we are. And now that we're here, we're going to seize the moment. We're going to take this very seriously, because that's what, this is important. There's somebody out there that could use uplifting words, and some people are one word away from changing their life.
For sure.
And I've watched our podcast over after we've done recording. It's online. We're going back to the Facebook ones, because the people don't know. Those ones were rich. A lot of those ones were really good and very profound. So I would go back and watch And I would actually, sometimes when you're in the moment, you miss things and you go back and watch. And I'm like, man, I got to write this down. He's giving me some insight. I'm talking to people and I'm also getting some pointers on how I can make myself better. And I think that is something beautiful that we can get out of this.
And the thing is, another thing is I just, want to, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you both, right? Because without us coming together and committing, this is not possible.
No.
A lot of people have thoughts of doing something, but they never do them. They talk about them. And one thing about us, I'm glad that we didn't talk about it. We did it. I did challenge you guys to say, let's do it 30 days, but you guys rose up to the challenge. You can have a great coach, you can have a great teammate, you can have a great everything. But the first thing is you got to be a great man. And that means a great man to everybody around. And your word is your word. So if we say we're going to do it, best believe we're going to do it. So somebody might be thinking, are they really going to do it? No, yeah, we're actually going to do it. You know that, right? Like, we're going to do it. And that's something that even the people watching can look at and say, you know what? Just because they say that you can't doesn't mean you can't. That's their opinion. I'm going to talk about one thing really quickly. I was at the school today, and last week we had a professor came in and he talked about, the story was the chickens and the eagles. And the whole time there was eagles and chickens in the same coop. And the chickens were like, man, you're an ugly chicken, to the eagle. And the eagle the whole time thought he was a chicken. So he thought he was ugly. He really thought he was ugly. And then one time they woke up and the eagle was on the post. And they're like, how'd you get up there? And he said, I flew. And they're like, no, chickens can't fly. He said, well, I did. And there was other eagles in that coop at the time. But those other eagles that were in that coop believed that they were chickens. So even though that the eagle kept saying to him, you can fly, you know that, they didn't believe that they could fly. They believed that they were a chicken. So a lot of times in life, you can't go by what everybody else is saying of you. You got to know who you are. That's the most important. Because someone might say you're a loser. But if you know you're not a loser, then it doesn't affect you. They can say you're stupid, but it doesn't affect you, right? Because you're like, no, I'm not. I know who I am. So that's the moral of it, is saying the general public, they can take from it and say, you can be whatever you want to be. Don't be defined by what someone else is saying you are. Be defined by what you say you are. And actually, a lot of times, I don't even define myself. I'm unlimited. I'm boundless.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have anything that's stopping me. Only thing that's stopping me is my thoughts. And as long as I keep putting those prosperous thoughts out there, I know things are going to grow. So, and I'm going to bring it back around why I mentioned the school, because, there was a professor that spoke about that the first week, the first day. And the same thing. So I taught math the next day and I related that as well. So I said, you're a good math student. They're like, no, I'm not. I said, remember that chickens and the eagles? I said, you are an eagle, and you're a good math student because I said you are. And then that brought confidence to them, because they're saying, okay, maybe I am a good math student. Because a lot of times in life, we got to figure out what's stopping somebody. So my first questions were why don't you like math? Because that's a question that people never ask. If they say, oh, do you like math? And you say no, and they say, well, you should. Not necessarily you should. Why? Why don't they? And then they started giving me reasons why they didn't like it. It's boring. The teacher can't teach. I get frustrated. I get angry. And then that draws something from me and say, okay, if I take away those things, the frustration, the anger, the not knowing, will you like it? And they're like, yeah, for sure. I said, but I can do that. I said, because you are an eagle. You are a great math student. And after that, just 30 minutes or 40 minutes of speaking to them, they believed that they were great.
This was today?
This was today, right? They believed they were great. So when I'm sitting here talking amongst 2 other guys, and me included, which is 3, I know you guys are great, right? There's no question. Why would I associate with people that are not great? So I know you're great. But then the thing is, you got to know that you're great as well, right? You got to know that you are the eagle. You got to know that you can fly. You got to know that. Sometimes we got the wings, but we don't use them.
We don't even train them.
We don't even train them, right? Because we're thinking that they're of no use. So in our life, those are all valuable, right? Be around the individuals that you should be around, because they're going to help you fly. Right? So be very mindful. Don't be around the people that say you can't. Be around the people that say you can. And when they say you can't, take it in and say, yeah, I'm going to show you guys that we can.
Birds of a feather flock together. I knew that line was good for something.
He was waiting. He was loaded up. It was loaded up with a
Right
holster.
as soon as he finished, I was like, bing. It just hit.
Say it again one more time, Drew.
Birds of a feather flock together.
All right. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking about strength when you mention all this, right? A lot of the times as men, we feel like it's strong to not say nothing, right? It's strong to keep it in. It's strong to, put that face on and walk into that room like this is the man code. You know what I mean?
It's like an unwritten rule
Yeah.
somehow has been pushed onto us, but
Right.
it's not the truth.
No, it's not the truth. Actually, the strength is speaking up. The strength is saying how you feel. Because a lot of the times, especially with this and learning and growing through this podcast, those times came when I stood up to my fear of speaking.
Yes.
So if there was something on my chest that I wanted to say, but for some reason I felt like I couldn't, saying it, screw that, I'm going to say it anyway. And as I say those things that's on my chest and the people around me reciprocate and they receive it without allegation, without trying to put me down,
Judgment.
that is the biggest gift that you could give me. That's a big gift you could give me as for my growth, because it allows things to be all right. You know what I mean? I don't have to overthink this no more. I can put it behind me. You know what I mean? And then focus on things that are actually gonna bring us fruits, actually gonna help grow us, actually gonna help the progress. I know earlier with Jay, when we would be working, and be like, yo, stop thinking 3 videos, 1 hour. You know what I mean? And that's how it would work. Is cause, you know what I mean? Now you have the permission for that moment. I was a student and you're a teacher. And on other moments I could be a teacher and you could be a student. But in that moment allows you to just wipe the slate, wipe the RAM, wipe everything, and put yourself in the moment and get to work, And I hope through us 3 speaking, over the course of however long, Thrive Talks exists, and hopefully that's a very, very, very long time, more than I could even comprehend, that we allow people the space to speak. You know what I mean? Like, these 3 men are speaking about things that are happening in my life, and I don't have the courage to speak, but seeing them
Gives me the courage.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful, beautiful gift we can provide anyone, not just men, women, girls, boys, young adults. It doesn't matter. That's a beautiful gift that, unbiased, non-judgment zone.
Because how many times it's what stops us from speaking out is fear.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And it's not fear. It's fear from what others.
It's fear from others. It's never fear for us, because
No.
we know who we are, right? We talk to ourselves, so we know who we are. So it's not like you're shocking yourself.
Right.
It's fearing other judgment. So I always talk about be fearless. That doesn't mean you don't have fear. That means you're fearing it less. Right? So if we can be brave, and I look at this as courage, that we're doing this. I could be like everybody else. I could be sitting back and judging and pointing a finger, but no, I choose to come out here and be vulnerable and try to bring something into the world. That's what I think that we should be doing. Bring something, whatever talent that you have, bring it to the world. Because why was you gifted with this?
Right.
I look at the end of time, and I never thought about the end of time as much as I thought about the last 3 years. And I thought about what did God design for me to do? And did I do it? right? Because he could have designed for you to be somebody that you didn't even think it was possible. He's like, you know what? It's like, you know what, Drew, the dream that you had was actually too small. I had something bigger and better for you. He could be saying the same thing about Big. You know what you thought, that's it? No, I had something really for you. But it's taking those steps and fearing it less. Take an initial step, because no one's going to help you if you don't take one. Somebody could be a great public speaker but is scared to speak.
Yeah.
But it really has it. But we've never heard them before. We've never heard them speak. But in their head, they're actually a great speaker. But they're just nervous to speak in front of people. But if you hear them speak by themselves, they'd be great. So it's being who we are. Knowing and trusting who you are. I put a quote up even today on Facebook, maybe it was yesterday, about a lion, right? It's like, why do I care about the opinions of sheep if I know I'm a lion? But the thing is, I have to know that I am a lion to not care about the sheep's opinion. If I still think I'm a sheep, then I'm going to care about it. But I got to know who I am first. So when I know who I am first, it doesn't really affect me. It's like, well, you're just a sheep anyway, so why do I really care? Because I know I am a lion.
I got to chime in, bro.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
A lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion when it walks in the room. Everybody knows it's a lion. And let me tell you, you two gentlemen, we're lions. All three of us here, we're lions because we're doing this. And to all the men out there, if you speak on your issues, even for a second with somebody, you have courage, and I commend you for that. And it takes bravery to do that. It takes bravery to start the healing process by opening that door and opening yourself up and saying something. And I just want to share. This is the foundation of what this podcast has been built on. On Facebook, I mentioned about being adopted. I mentioned about trying to reconnect with my real mother, and recently, she's been trying to re-enter my life. Not directly, more or less in small ways, kind of like liking my pages and following me and stuff, and asking people she works with questions about me because they know me. And it feels good, and I'm happy about it. At the same time, I'm not. I'm a little bummed, but this is why I love our kids, man, and this is what lets you know that you did a great job as a dad. I actually told my daughter about it while I was up in Tobermory on my vacation, and my daughter, for the first time, made me see things differently because of what she said. So I told her about what's going on, and her message was basically, think about it from her point of view, how she must feel after making the mistake of walking away from you. She must feel like dog shit. You can't just, expect her to do everything right at this stage. And this is coming from a 17-year-old. And immediately, I was more concerned that I did such a good job with my daughter that she could make me change my mind about how to look at things. And so I'm just going to use a golf term, play it as it lies. Whatever happens next happens, but I'm not going to force it. And that's how I'm going to get through that. But my daughter, she just told me I did everything right as far as being a dad with her. And that means more to me than anything else going on in my life.
But what's so crazy about even life, right, is catching everything. Catching all the nuggets. Not knowing that there's something behind that rock.
Right.
Just assuming it's just a rock. But did you ever look underneath the rock? Because sometimes something is there. So a lot of times you can be taught by a lot of people. You just got to listen. That's the first thing. And most of the time, people don't even listen because if they don't have the stage or the status or the financial, we don't listen to them. Right? We just ignore them. Oh, they don't know anything. Those kids every day that I go into school, they teach me something.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Every day. And sometimes I don't. Yeah, you get frustrated, you get tired because you're like, man, I just want to go home, man. Right? It's real. It's just I just want to go home, man. Because you can stay up for a while, but they just got the energy and they're going to keep going. So, but every day is a learning opportunity they'll, and even with teaching, they'll sometimes teachers don't listen. They don't listen. They don't ask the students, what do you like? What do you like? What do you want me to teach today? I believe that people should get excited about learning. Just like I get excited about coming to the podcast, because I know everything is a learning opportunity.
And some teachers, they look at it as a job. They want to go home. So they just do what you just said. But when you get those ones that are genuinely there to help those kids, then they tap into the kids and they start reading how the kids are, just like a referee reads the play so he can make the right call.
For sure. Because everything is thriving. And how I try to look at my life is, who can I make better? Who can I make better? Right? If I'm on the podcast, I want to make you two better. And hopefully you want to make me better.
Absolutely.
And we want to make the general public better. That's why we're on here. We're not on here to say we have every answer. We're not here to do that. We're here to inspire you to get some courage so you can be vocal and communicate your inner demons to somebody else. That's why we're here. We're not here to put a crown on our head and anoint as kings. We're here to help. So if anybody needs the courage, needs just a little push, or needs something to go talk to somebody that they know they need to talk to, that's what we're here to do. We're here to give you a push.
We're here to plant some seeds.
We're here to be the courage that you don't have currently, but you're going to have it. We're not saying that you don't have any courage. Sometimes you just need a push, just like I need a push. Sometimes I need to see someone doing it so then I can replicate it and copy it. Right? That's why they always talk about when someone's copying you, that's actually a compliment, because they're copying something that's good. No one's copying something that's bad. So a lot of times people say, "Oh man, this guy's going to steal something from me." Well, let him steal it, because he needs it. Right? Because if he didn't need it, why would he be stealing it? Think about things not being yours. I think about this podcast being for the public, not for us. I think about doing the job for them because I know someone's in their room right now needing a word of inspiration, some word of hope, something that can get them out of this dark place. I know that. I don't know their name, but I know they're out there. I know that person's walking alone and thinking that no one understands them. I know that they're looking, searching for anything. And I know we're the answer. And I'm not saying that we're going to give you the answers. We're just going to show you what we've done for ourselves.
We might just be the spark.
Just be the spark.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
to get the change going. And it's so important too. Even the camp you're working on, Camp Makeka, it's based around African American youth, minority youth.
I love that.
Right? And you were telling me about the anti-racism thing that, they're trying to implement, you're going to implement with Thriving Youth. I feel like it's so important because even as an Indian man, I know there's so many Indian kids coming to Canada. You know what I mean? This new world, it's like they're all Western influence, but they might not know that there's another side to it. They might not know that you don't have to be so rah, you know what I mean? Like the hip hop music portrays, that you can be more vulnerable and you can share your feelings and you can, not live in fear, right? You can say what's on your mind to your parents, you know what I mean? You might think differently than they do, you might see things differently than they do. But in order to grow, you need to cooperate, not capitulate. I got that quote from Rick Rubin, and it hit me so hard. Like, let's say if we all have ideas, and Drew, you got an idea, but, you just go off, you don't even say your idea. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with what they're saying, right? Capitulate. But we all lose now, because your idea might have been the one. Your idea might have been the one that we needed to hear in order to take our thing to the next level.
And think about this. When you're cooking, you need multiple spices, right? So we don't want the salt to be like the pepper.
Right.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't want the garlic to duplicate what the pepper is, right? Because you just picture these ingredients speaking. And the pepper's saying, you know what, I'm better than you because you're garlic and I'm pepper. But we need the garlic. We need the pepper. We need the salt. We need all those ingredients. And we
Right.
need them to be in their natural state. We don't need them to be
Just
touched.
as they are.
Yeah, we need them just as they are.
Yeah.
We don't need you to try to be like something else. No, we need you exactly who you are.
That's why you exist.
That's why you exist.
That's why you're on the table, cuz.
Exactly. Because if they're all the same, I can't really do too much with them.
No, facts.
I really can't.
It's gonna be the same old food.
It's going to be the same old food. But when I got all these different ingredients, it allows me some flexibility.
Right.
Now I can add a little bit of this and
Yeah.
add a bit of this and take this out, and I can mix it now. That's why we should look at ourselves as ingredients. We're not, when I'm saying about making a meal, but I need the ingredients first.
So you're saying there's only one Jermaine Jackson. There's only one Andrew Masonville. There's only one Bikram Wahid.
Yes.
So be you,
Be you.
right? Because you're on the table for a reason. You know, you are part of this whole thing. Actually, as you guys are speaking, and we're speaking about speaking to the people and being of service, we're realizing that everyone's actually us, and we are everyone. You know what I mean? The person listening to us, you're me, and I'm you. You know, and we realize that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So the stronger we get together as a unit, the stronger, you know, the better habits we all form together, the farther we will go as a species, the farther we will go together. We're all one big family, end of the day. And I think the less competition we have between us and just trying to be the best version of ourselves will really ascend these, you know, these small issues or situations that come up because of egos and things like this. And we can actually get together and do something incredible.
Yeah, because it's just like you spoke about, it's together, right? We're doing things together, right? That's the biggest thing. And, you know, when they always talk about team together, everybody achieves more. So imagine if we had 3 heads focused, 3 heads locked in. Imagine how far you can go. And then imagine if you had 4. You're even going even farther, right? One man by himself it's hard to fight an army.
It's hard.
But you get 4 lions, and they can take out a lot of stuff, right? So it's almost saying it's like this. I remember listening to one guy, and he said, "I'd rather have a lion lead sheep, 1,000 sheep, than 1,000 sheep lead one lion." Right? That's the key, right? Because that one lion, or even if you have one sheep leading 1,000 lions, that's what I meant. One sheep leading 1,000 lions,
I almost want to add that to my life.
right? And I'd rather have one lion lead
1,000 sheep.
1,000 sheep,
Not one sheep.
not one sheep leading 1,000 lions.
Right.
Because the lion will now think he is a sheep. He will think that.
That's what's happening, right?
Yes.
Divided we fall, right? You know, and however this world is just laid out, we need more of this because there's a lack of it. There's a lack of vulnerability. There's like an increase in competition. There's more distance between men, you know, and all the violence that goes on around the world and any disagreements. It all happens because we realize, or we think, that we're not each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not part of me. I'm not part of you. So screw you. You know what I mean? But that was a trick.
And the thing is, if you think about that, if you think about everybody is your brother, everybody is your sister, well, you treat them, how would you treat them?
Beautiful.
You're going to treat them beautiful because you're going to realize they're all fam.
Yeah.
We're all family. But when you think about they're separated, oh, you're this and I'm that, well, I don't care how I treat you.
And then you don't care how you treat yourself.
For sure.
Because if I can treat you a shitty way, what the hell's going on up here?
Exactly.
What the hell's going on in here?
Exactly.
I'm probably really disrespecting myself.
My boy asked me the other day, you know, why did this person treat me this way? And I said, they didn't do enough self-work. And when I said that to him, now it seems simple to us, but when I said that to him, he's like, I never really heard that before. And he was like, you know what, bro? You're right. He's like, what am I doing wasting my time with this person when I could be treated better, right?
Yeah.
He's like, then he started looking inward, which is what I was trying to direct him to do. You put the work in on yourself, you start realizing, okay, now I'm available to shine for somebody else.
And not
Because-
only that, I don't mean to interrupt, but not only that is once you start putting that time in yourself, you know how you're supposed to be treated.
Yeah.
You understand fully how you're supposed to be treated, because you're not going to allow someone else to treat you worse than you would treat yourself.
Not just that, bro, but you also you're in the world of putting yourself under a magnifying glass now. So now you're more conscious of your words and your actions when you walked in the room. And when the conversation went south and it turned into an argument and you walk away, you're able to actually say, you know what, Drew, you could have handled that conversation a hell of a lot better. You screwed up, so next time, approach this way, adjust yourself, and that's how you become a better person. You start being more conscious of what you're doing and stop blaming or pointing the finger. Even when it's clear cut they did do something, ask yourself the question, what could I have done better to resolve this issue? You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. Everything is about, and that's where you put the ego aside.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is about reflecting on yourself. When you go home and you reflect, who do you reflect on? You reflect on someone else that's not you? No, you reflect on you and your behavior, how you act, how you conduct yourself. Okay, this person made me angry. How can I handle it better next time? I
Right.
can't allow that no more. Right? So it's all about your reflection. Looking in the mirror. That's why they talk about reflection. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at you and your reflection. So sometimes people can't look in the mirror because they know they're failing themselves. They know they're coming up short. They know they're lying, but they're acting like a damn sheep. No, act like who you're supposed to be. And just because I'm a lion doesn't mean you can't be a lion. Who says?
Yeah.
There could be unlimited lions. But if you keep choosing yourself, you keep choosing to be a sheep, well, then you're gonna act like one. If you think you're a lion, well, you act like a lion. Whatever you think you are, that's who you are. If you think you're the number one podcaster, it is the truth.
Yep.
Because it's in your mind, it's in your thoughts. And you're saying, okay, you know what, I'm not that now, but I will be. And I'm going to continuously keep working on ourselves. And that's what I love. I said, I love it when I see growth. I hate it when I see
Decay.
decay. I hate it. But when I see growth, it inspires me. It makes me want to do more. It makes me want to be better. You know, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this is, you know, some people are not spiritual, but I am. But it's
I am.
This is right. I just recognize that there's something bigger than me.
Right.
I recognize that because when I was in my worst spot, who was I calling for? Was I calling on me to save the day? No, I was looking at a higher power and praying to something. Right now, everybody doesn't have to have the same religion, but you do recognize that there is something more than me. I'm just a part of the world. I am not the world. I'm just a part of it, and I'm a part that can make it better. I am an ingredient, but I got to keep continuously bringing myself to the table to make the meal better.
I thought of one thing when you said the listening part. It was, I heard it a million times before, but you have two ears and one mouth for a reason, right? So you're kind of meant to listen more and reflect more, you know what I mean? And another thing that popped into my mind was about your journey, considering before the cancer, you were a lot more closed off, right? You didn't let people in. You didn't let people, come into what was going on within you. You probably dealt with all the pain yourself, right?
For sure.
And you bottled it up.
For sure.
And in a way, the cancer forced you to be vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because now you needed the help.
Yes.
Right? Now you needed to stretch out of who you were.
Yes.
And actually, that propelled you to the next phase of life.
You had to step out of your comfort zone in multiple ways at the same time, simultaneously. So, I mean, I can only imagine what the level.
No, like it just made me do things that I might have been pushing off and delaying. And I had to do it now. So it forced me to be someone that I knew that was in me. I knew it was in me, but I wasn't allowing it to come out. I find the same thing as far as speaking and doing all these stuff. Like before, I just wouldn't even bother to talk to nobody. I just didn't really want to have a conversation with them. But now it's like, that's all I do is talk. So I knew it was already within. That's why when I spoke about earlier, when I was saying some people are really great speakers, but don't speak. but they are. They have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of wisdom. And people just are kind of like downplaying them and thinking that they don't really have too much to offer because they're not being brave enough to let it go. But they have it. They really have this ability, but they're just looking for the courage. So if we can be guys that could be vulnerable, who are we? You know, we're three guys with the mic. But we're three guys that we think that there's something we can offer something to the world. So I can't stop that. I cannot share that. I can't keep that. I can't be, because that's being selfish. Because how do I know when I get to the end of the time, God was saying, you know why you got those thoughts? And I'm going to say, okay, why? And like to share with others. That's why I made you go through everything that you went through. Because your story is not only a testimony for yourself, it's a testimony for someone else. That's why. So I don't want to ever disappoint God in that nature and say, okay, you know what? I gave you this ability, this ability, this ability, and you didn't use it. I should never even gave it to you. So,
sorry.
So from that day on, I vowed to myself
You're going to use it.
that I'm going to use it.
Absolutely.
This morning, I didn't tell you guys this part. I wasn't going to get into it, but a part of this me tripping out, when I woke up, I felt like my creativity was being drained from me, right? I know it sounds crazy, but it felt like, it was almost like another voice going, you ain't using it to your best of your ability. You know what I mean? Like you got all this big gift and you're not applying yourself like you could be. You know what I mean? There's so much more in you. So I'm going to take it away. And I felt like a shell of myself. For those moments, I felt like, damn, like I'm really, like, because what a gift I have been given to be able to write or be able to make a video or be able to put an emotion into something, and then me not share that. And that is a slap in the face. End of the day, it's not, obviously I'm not respecting myself, but I'm not respecting anything at that point. I'm not respecting other people around me. I'm not respecting the life that I've been given. I'm not respecting the vessel that I am. I'm not respecting my own self, my inner child. There's just so much disrespect going on there. But, you know, that was a glimpse, and I couldn't even imagine what you're going through considering you're stage 3 cancer. Like, this could be it for most people. It could be finito. Like, that could be it. And then you having to look at, you know, parts of yourself and go, I could have did that, but I didn't do that. But now, if I am given a second chance, Lord, give me a second chance. Watch what I do with it.
Yeah,
You know?
that's exactly what I thought, man. Like, because we're given gifts. And what's the worst thing as a, you know, say if you give somebody a gift, you give a friend a gift, you give your kid a gift, you give whatever a gift, and they don't use it. That's when you get the most disappointed. That's the one you get the most angry. Like, I've never bought a gift for someone and they used it and I was mad that I gave it to them. I was actually excited. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that I bought that because you're actually using it. So what do you think that you've been given? You've been given many of gifts. And who's looking? Are you using them? Are you letting them waste? What are you doing with them? So if your mindset is not on using these gifts, then why did I give them to you? I should have gave you nothing. I should have gave you absolutely nothing because you didn't use it anyway. You know, I remember I was listening to a story and they talked about a guy, and I don't know where I heard it from. They talked about a guy who passed away and he was given a lot of gifts. And then at the end of the point, he was talking to God and he said, you know what, God, you know what? You know, I kept all the gifts safe. You know, I kept them protected. And God spoke to him and said, why? Those gifts weren't to be buried. Those gifts weren't to be protected. Those gifts were to be shared. So you actually let me down. You let me down than the person that came back and returned and didn't have the gifts, because those gifts weren't supposed to be taken. They were supposed to be given,
Re-gifted.
right? So that's a perspective that you got to look at and say, every gift that you got, are you using them? Are you using them? Are you wasting them? You know, if you have a gift to sing, then you should be out there singing. If you got a gift to draw, you should be out there drawing.
Someone would kill for those gifts.
Yes. The same gifts that you have, someone else wishes they had them.
it goes back to even you with cancer. Is like you had movement, and sometimes you take it for granted. Then it takes movement right back. You know what I mean? And now how you feel? Like I take, we all think we have all these problems, but I just stop you from breathing for 2 minutes. You're gonna forget about all those problems. You're just gonna be worried about breathing.
Mm-hmm.
We take so many things for granted. It's insane. From even the smallest things, our heart beating, our lungs working, the ability to see, to hear, How blessed are we to even sit here right now? Drew, you got a nice backyard, cuz.
Things, look how blessed you are to have, like, with the seeing of our eyesight and being able to see everything that's in the world. But we just think it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But that blind man is thinking, man, imagine
Yeah.
if I could see. You know what I mean? That's the one wish he's having. You have it.
But CJ, that's where I'm at with the way I think now. I'm really conscious about there's a child out there that eats nothing and just waiting to die. And I'm so privileged to have the ability to go into a designated room in the house and get food and get access to water and have all that. So I'm just overwhelmingly blessed. And that way, when things, do get bad, I'm still grateful. I still have peace of mind. And that's the thing. And you talked about gifts. And I believe there's two kinds. There's the gifts that you have and the gifts that you have not discovered yet. Because when you try new things, you add new things to your repertoire. You said something on a couple podcasts ago. I could have been a great musician, but I'll never know because I didn't try. So there's so many things between the three of us gentlemen and everybody else watching out there. There's a world of things that we could really be good at and excel, but we still haven't tried. So make sure that you're actually seeking new things, because if you don't, then you'll never know what you could become.
Because like I said, it's just imagine you getting to the end of your life and that gift that you didn't explore or that talent that was supposed to be you.
Yeah.
Like, that would suck because you're like, man, wow, I really had that. Yeah, you had that in you. You know that, right? But you didn't know. You didn't know you had it in you because you stayed within the box. You kept doing the same thing. You were scared to explore. I said, at the end of the day, this podcast started because we weren't scared to explore. That's all it was. We went on there and we tried something. And then we started, after we tried it, we started to say, oh, man, I like it. But I didn't know that I was necessarily going to like podcasting until we tried it. And then as you try it, you're like, okay, yeah, man, we could do, this is something here.
And we proved that if like another COVID came, we could easily convert back to behind the screen and it would work because we killed that.
So it's a beautiful thing when you start exploring something different. And then now that light starts to come on. Before you had a couple lights in maybe the living room, the basement, whatever. But now everything's starting to light up because you're like, man, you know what? Yeah, I got something here. You know what I mean? I thought God just blessed me with one thing. But I was so damn lucky that he blessed me with so much, but I didn't even realize that he blessed me with it. I thought I was using all the blessings. I thought I was still trying to work the one blessing that I had. But he's like, yo, you know what? You got 20 more. You know that, right? Even though that one blessing, it might have went down. Like the fire might have went down, but I got 20 other fires started. So all you got to do is keep putting some wood on over there. You never know what's going to happen. So it's funny when I tell Big stuff, and I tell him, I said, I don't know where I'm going, but I know it's going to work. I know that. I don't know. I don't necessarily know what the final destination is going to be, but I know it's going to be successful. So that's all I care about.
That makes it interesting.
It makes it interesting. And I'm willing to explore 50 million things. Not because I think they will all work, but I just want to try them. I literally just want to try different things.
Yep.
Because I was stuck in the same bubble doing the same thing all the time, and I want to know who in the hell I am. And the only way I'm going to know who in the hell I am is by doing things that I've never done before. Because then I can determine in my head now, do I like it or I don't? Because before I just thought I didn't like it. Well, I don't really see anybody else doing it, so I must not be good at that. No, you don't know what you can do. And that's why I smile every night. because I don't know what's going to happen.
And you don't know how good you can do it either. You know, there's levels to everything. And there's also lessons. And I learned one thing in life: there's lessons within lessons. Sometimes you got to peel the layers, and you'll start seeing that there is actually a lot more to learn and absorb than you thought. That's oh, you cut me off earlier. I was gonna say something. Okay, y'all know I did that trip. Somebody said, you know, it seems a little selfish. You went on your own, didn't take nobody. And I just want to say one thing. This is one thing I learned. Sometimes, especially when you earned it, you got to be selfish so that you can be selfless. So
Yes, for sure.
I came back a lot more ready to do what I need to do for others.
For sure, because you got to continuously pour in your own cup,
Yes.
right? So if someone says, "Oh, you're selfish," you're not. No, you got to pour into your own. So when I pour into my own, then I have overflowing of water or
Yes.
whatever liquid I have to share with others. But if I don't take that time to get myself right,
Yep.
I'm not good for anybody. You know, you don't want to have somebody who's burnt out trying to help you because they're going to have no patience and they're going to get frustrated.
Right.
You want the person to be relaxed, had a good night's rest, do everything, you know, exercise, whatever it is that makes them their best. So then they can be their best for someone else.
Absolutely.
We're not here to be a downgraded version and then
Yeah.
try to help someone else because you're not helping them anyway. You know, they're gonna look at you and say, "Why don't you help yourself?" Because we see you struggling right now. So help yourself first, then go help somebody else. If you need a vacation or some time off or alone time, whatever it is that you need in a day, take that. You know, it could be an hour workout. Take that. Be selfish with that hour. Because guess what? The next 23, you're going to be that much better.
Absolutely, brother.
Legacy and impact. I wanted to ask you guys about the lasting impact of Thrive Talks. So where do you see Thrive Talks will be both for yourself and, you know, each other as well as the audience? Like, where do you see Thrive Talks heading?
I believe this can go as far as we believe it is together. I mean, just us three when we're off air, this can go wherever we want it to go. And the sky's the limit. We're doing everything right. We're putting our money where our mouth is. And we are growing. So when you look at day one and you look to now and you ask yourself the simple question, have we gotten better? Yes, we have. So now that we have, it's time to actually believe that we can do this because we are doing it.
Right. And I wanted to point, Jay's wearing a special shirt underneath this shirt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Jay, man, you
We
gonna
coming.
off like Superman real quick?
We coming.
Because, you know what I mean? We're going to have... he's coming out the phone booth.
Oh shoot!
He's coming out the phone
I
booth.
see that light skin light skin chocolate face there. Oh, who's that with the New York hat? The mic's right in front of him.
There we go. We got the Thrive Talks gear.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
And they gave me darker hair than
Yeah,
white.
We got a logo, you know what I mean? I was looking to get our Instagram updated with the logo, so we're gonna have our merch coming as well. And it's a very beautiful shirt. I recommend you guys go get it. And you know, there's so many questions I even skipped in a way. Like, you know, I asked you guys.
We could do this over and over.
I know. I asked you guys, like, who are you? You know what I mean? And there's a whole other section of who's Bikram. You know what I mean? How'd he get here? You know? And I'm gonna keep it short because I didn't touch on it before. But I'm a first generation Indian. You know, that's my ethnicity. You know, my parents are both from Punjab, India. They came here with a dream 30 years ago, you know, to live a better life. And they achieved that dream, you know. Through that dream, I was, you know, a part of that dream. I was born, and I got to live in this beautiful country of Canada, and also get the privilege of having cultured parents and experiencing the culture, roots of that culture from a young age. I traveled to India back and forth, did some years in grade school, did some years in high school out in India. And it's been quite a journey. You know, did biology, psychology in school, but didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea I was going to be here. Let's just say that. I had zero idea I was going to be here. But as Jay is saying, I don't know where it's heading exactly. I just know it's gonna work, you know. And what I can say about Thrive Talks, and obviously I love videography. I love so many things. And that question I will ask both of you gentlemen a second from now. But I do know that this podcast, like I'm in the right place at the right time. Like it feels like I'm in the perfect spot in the perfect time, and it is healing my soul and helping people in a way that I never even intended. And that's a beautiful feeling. And I look forward to keep exploring myself with you gentlemen, and exploring myself in general, and then seeing the jewels that come out of this, you know, and jewels that come out of myself, and the jewels that we come out of Drew, and the jewels that come out of Jay. It's gonna be quite a journey, and it is the journey. It's not the destination. And boys, it's a privilege and a pleasure.
Absolutely, brother.
Exactly. It is.
So before we end it off, I got two last things.
Okay.
I wanted to ask, beyond the podcast, what are some of your individual passion projects or hobbies that contribute to your overall sense of thriving? Like beyond this podcast, what else are you up to, Jay?
Right now, I'm just creating, man. I just want to be a creator. This is what I see. I see lack of things. And instead of me complaining about it, I think about doing something about it. So right now I'm trying to do Thrive Kids. Not trying. I don't even know why I'm saying trying. I'm going to do Thrive Kids. That's going to be a great program that we can hook some people up with some mentors. We can teach them about their culture. We can teach them how to be who they are. You know, you don't have to be someone else. Be who you are. So that's one of the things I'm involved in. I'm going to be doing some retreat stuff to give some people just a good time, man. You know, like a quality good time where you go back and you just do some good things and you celebrate and you have great conversation, you have great food, and you don't have to go to the club and bars and you know, and deal with all that stuff. You know, we got to get back to just communicating. Just sitting around maybe a pool, sitting around the water, sitting around the fire, and just really letting ourselves release ourselves and to have good conversations. So I'm part of that as well.
The Rise and Thrive as well.
The Rise and Thrive, the cancer movement. And as you can see, it's majority of the things that I am involved in deal with people. It deals with helping people. It deals with inspiring people. Now we have different forms. We might have, okay, we're going to do the rest and relaxation retreat. We're going to do Cancer Foundation because we want people to be informed on the decision making. We want people to know that they have alternative measures. We want to have people that have hope, right? So that's why we call it a Rise and Thrive. So it's basically you're getting up from bed and you're thriving throughout the day.
Boom.
Rise and Thrive. So there's so many things. There's you know we have food stuff going on. We got transformations going on, and right now it just seems like a lot of it's going on, and because I got to try different things. I got to see really what really works, and really excites me. You know, because you might have 10 projects on the go, and then you realize it's like, you know what, these 6 ones these are the ones. But unless you try those 10, you would still maybe think those other 4 may be those ones. So let's explore and try them, and let's see how it works.
Right.
So everything that I'm doing right now is involving Thrive. Thrive Kids, Thrive Adults, Thrive Teens, Thrive Children, Thriving Solutions. It's just giving somebody some more confidence, some more hope, putting some smiles on their faces, and just providing quality content for everybody. You know, I want people to listen to the podcast, listen to what we have to say, take it in, and it changes their life.
Apply it.
You know, like you really realize how things can change people's lives. You know, going to the gym. Just the other day I went to the gym and the guy walks up to me. He's like, you know what? You changed my wife's life. You know, I appreciate you. You're genuine. You know, and it makes me feel good because I know I'm in my purpose. My purpose is the helping people. You know, it's the same thing I looked at before when I stopped coaching, that I was done coaching. But I didn't realize I had more people to coach. I had adults to coach. I had kids to coach. I had teens to coach. I had a lot of people to coach. but not on the court. Just in life. You know, just being an understanding ear instead of being judgmental and saying, you know what, yeah, man, I understand what you're going through. You know what I mean? I'm here for you. I won't judge you. I don't care if it's weight loss. I don't care if you're overweight, underweight. I don't care if you're insecure. I don't care if you can't speak. I don't care if you can't read. It doesn't matter because we can all get better. So in my life, I dedicated myself to not only improving my life, to improving others' lives. And I don't know what form that's going to take. It could be videos, it could be documentaries, it could be books, it could be whatever. But as long as I can bring something to help somebody get through the day and look at the positive and not the negative, I'm all for it.
Absolutely, man. Very inspiring.
What about you, Drew?
What's the question again?
What other passion projects do you have outside of the podcast that really fuel your soul?
I aspire to upgrade my life coaching, so I want to be a personal trainer as well. That's coming. And I've been talking about it long enough. I put it out to the universe 2 years ago, purposely. And I take the long road, that's okay, because I will get there. Whatever I want, I will get. And that's I'm starting to realize that a lot more now. And also, when you're aligned with yourself with people that are like-minded like that, it's almost like it's guaranteed it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So that I have goals, fitness goals. I want to get like somewhere I've never been, like 230s. Once I see that, I'll be able to like, I don't know. I'll just
take your shirt off.
It's gonna feel
Take
crazy.
your shirt off in front of your pool?
Dude, I'm already taking my shirt off because I'm already there. This is already mine. Right? Like, so, I want to take the chicken to a level I never really thought, because I remember the day I started King's Kitchen. It started with my kids, and it started before it was called King's Kitchen. I didn't even entitle it yet. It started just from making a meal for my kids. That's when it started. And then I shared it with a couple of friends, and it blew up from there. And I'm places I never thought I would be with King's Kitchen. But I realized that there's a market to attack with this. I could literally skyrocket this somewhere that I've never, ever aspired for it to be. So that's my plans for that. And I definitely want to continue doing this, because I think this is going to open up other doors for each of us, just by staying on course. But the biggest thing is I want to master my own life. I want to be able to say, I can do anything, I can solve anything, and if I can't, I'm going to seek out the person that has solved it before, so that I can quickly get to the result and stop going through these long routes. I want to cut out shortcuts. I want to cut out long routes. I want to get direct routes. And that's kind of what I'm trying to work on, brother.
It's beautiful.
More music too.
More music,
Yeah.
yep. Theme song coming soon. Great answers, boys. I would say the same thing, you know. I would say getting to know myself and cutting down to the deepest roots of who Bikram is. What my ancestors came here to do, what my grandpa had a vision for his family and what that was. And also explore my gift of storytelling and videography. I want to explore that and master it. Because it's a gift I've been given, and seeing where that takes us. And that obviously includes, you know, everything Thrive Media, everything that, you know, all these clips from our own, you know, from the kitchen videos to motivational videos, to Rise and Thrive videos, to Thrive podcast videos, to Thriving Youth now, you know what I mean? So whatever comes from this camp, I look to, you know, excel at, and pretty much make a network of individuals that want to exceed in their creativity, that want to explore new things, that never settle, right? And be around some great individuals. The other day I had a friend, another fellow videographer, and she was down, you know what I mean? And usually this person is texting, like, you know, they're right there, and I knew something was wrong right off the rip. I'm like, something's off, you know, just as you knew about Larry. So the next morning I ended up just pulling up to her house, right? I didn't know what she liked, so I just got the little blackberry yuzu drink from Tim Hortons I seen her have at one time. But she didn't want me in there, you know what I mean, because of what was going on mentally. But I was like, you know what, I'm here, and I would feel bad if I didn't even try. Right? So I got in there and I explained to them and everyone around me that, you know, I might be down, you know, and I might need you guys to come, you know, check on me. And if y'all down, then best believe I'm gonna check on y'all. And I want that type of environment. I'm gonna build that type of
Open door
brotherhood.
policy, brother.
Open door policy. I was telling Jay too. I pulled up at his house. I pull up at his house. I pull up. You know what I mean? I pull up. I pull up. Right? I pull up. Right? Like that's how it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bikram pulls up.
I pull up. Right? It's like so. If like you know, the best me is pulling up. Right?
Yeah.
If I have an emotion and it's not sorted, and I know Jay's house is 5 minutes that way, I'm going 5 minutes that way. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do that. I was telling Jay the same thing. I'm like, Jay, pull up at my house. Like if you ever need, or you feel like I'm whatever, like it's open door. It's like knock the door down. Like get the hell up. Like whatever it is, because sometimes we need that. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what it is, right? And I'm so glad I did pull up, right? Because if I didn't, I wouldn't get those things off my chest, and we wouldn't be here. And I'm willing to say that this podcast wouldn't be as great as it is,
For sure.
Because I know it's a damn good one.
For sure.
Right,
I
it's a
do.
damn good one. It's because of that chemistry.
Yes.
We're rekindling. Right,
Yes.
there's no stress no more.
Yes.
Right, there's more. It's
We're
calm
getting
waves.
stronger.
Right, you know what I mean? No, we get on the water. You got choppy waters. Where's the boat gonna go? Right, you know what I mean? You get on the water, it's smooth waters. Yo, take that thing wherever you want to take it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Before we end it, I got
yeah.
one question. It's very
Yes.
simple. You could do it point form, like yes or no. Did any of you believe we were going to get this far, or did you have any doubt?
I did. I believed it.
You
Yeah.
believed it the whole time from jump?
Yeah, for sure.
Because remember, you were coaching us.
Everything I do, I believe in it because I won't do it.
Yeah.
Because I know without the belief, that's the first thing that you need for anything to be successful is a strong belief. You have to believe it without a doubt. And I believed it 100%, 1,000,000%. And even if it goes bad some days or it's rocky, whatever, I just know that I always say that to people. I say, how you going to stop a man that won't quit? And you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know I'm not going to stop anything that I do, whether it's the podcast, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I got some other people that won't stop as well, I know it's going to be successful. Because we'll figure out certain things. Someone can say, well, this is not that great. No, we'll figure that out. Oh, might not be. No, we'll figure that out too.
Mm-hmm.
But the commonality of anybody that's successful is they didn't stop.
yep, didn't quit.
So I know,
Consistency.
I knew this was going to go well. No doubt. Because I knew the determination that we had within. And that's where it starts from.
Bick?
I never expected anything. I'm gonna be honest. I never expected anything. So everything's been a pleasant surprise for the most part. Has there been times when I question things? For sure. You know, just to see is this gonna work? Is this progressing in the right way? Am I meshing in the right way? But then, you know, and then talking. This is where the team helps, right? Like I could potentially talk to Jay and be like, "Yo, just focus on your commitment, your goal." You know, so it's not about anybody else. Do I believe that everything's going to work out? Yes. I think that's what connected us in the first place. I always feel like that. And especially lately, that's all I'm feeling like, right? So I know it's going to work. Did I have a question, or did I see Thrive Talks being something 6 months ago? Hell no. I had no idea. Am I here and seeing how it's healing me and healing, you know, potential people that are listening? Yeah, I'm seeing that, you know? And that feeling, I want to continue.
I'm going to be very, very openly honest. Any time in my life that people say that they're going to do stuff for me or with me, they don't follow through. So I came out of the gate like, that's probably, we'll see where it goes. I didn't really believe. But as we kept going and we kept saying things that I walked away from feeling like, damn, this is life-changing shit. And I'm a part of it. This is really happening. And I had these moments. I had to pinch myself. I'm in this. Look where I'm at. Look at my, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I didn't believe it, but I started to believe it. You guys created the momentum with me, and you started, the dream was sold. I started saying, you know what, hell yeah, we can do it. We're onto something. And then it motivated the hell out of me.
Sometimes, man, you need somebody. I tell people sometimes, I say, the one gift that I know I have is I believe everything that I do with 100%, no question, no doubt. I already see it in my head. And sometimes that gift is good to share with others. So say if we're doing something and you may have a seed of doubt sometimes, because it happens. that I can share my I'm sure of this. Don't worry. We got it.
Yeah.
We just got to keep going.
The anchor.
Yeah, we're good. Don't worry. I know some certain things gets all crazy, but they will be all right. You know, I always tell people, I said, for example, coaching my team, every time I started a season, do you think you're going to win? You're damn right, because why am I here? Well, you don't have the players. It doesn't matter about the players. It matters about me. I know I'm going to make those players better. But the first thing that I always had to bring in them wasn't the skill. It wasn't the plays. It wasn't none of that. It was the belief that we can do it. Believing that if we joined hands and we united, that we could take anything on. And once they believed that, it was already over. Now I just got to figure out what plays to run and what defense to do. But I said, but the belief is there. Somebody could be doing the plays, doing the defense, or doing the podcast, doing whatever, and not truly believing. Right? If they don't believe it, then it ain't going to happen.
Right.
But when you get that belief, you know, and sometimes it's another person is an outsider that's saying, yeah, bro, it's going to happen. Yeah, okay, really, is it? Yeah, it's going to happen. It's the same thing that I needed. When I was going through cancer and I found someone else that went through it, and I seen them, I looked at them, and I said, oh, yeah, you got through it? I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to get through it. Right? So that's where sometimes our strength, which lies in us, what strength that lies in me, I might have been that spark at the beginning, but you guys are still putting stuff on that flame. And that flame is now it's going from not us knowing if it's going to work. You know, you guys might not have knew, but I did. But now they know that it will work. And not just our thing, whatever that they want to do. Because what we're doing here is encouraging and inspiring. That's what we're doing for the people. I didn't come up here to act like I'm all this and all that.
Right.
No, I just want you to have hope.
Yeah.
So if we give, you know, by us doing this and us going through it, and even though it's sometimes rocky, because sometimes people think, you know, a success, everything's smooth.
It's not.
But it's not. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have fights. You're going to have times where you doubt yourself. You're going to have times where you feel like you can do it. And then sometimes you're like, oh, man, maybe it's not going to work. Right? You're constantly fighting this internal battle with yourself to get there. And I feel like there's going to be times where I might be down and you might be up. And there might be times where I might be down and you may be up. That's why when they talk about a team, that we can achieve more. Because when one person is down, don't worry, I got you. We'll lift you up. And then you just return that favor. And that's why it's almost like going to the gym and having a spotter, having a workout partner. You'll get way more results. Because that other person is there for you just as much as you're there for them.
Absolutely, Jay. And you know, a lot of people, when one guy's down, he's having a bad day, and you lift him up, you know his next game's going to be his best.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, we coming.
Okay, guys, that's a special episode in Drew's backyard, number 9. So, Drew, hope you have us back here, guys.
I will allow it. I will allow it.
But that's another one, guys. We'll see you at the next one. Every Thursday, 3 p.m. we go live. Peace.
Peace.
Love y'all.